Everybody must have heard of the Jeannie Mai and Jeezy divorce by now. It was all over the news on the weekend. But today, she officially contested the divorce, so we're going to talk about it and dissect what this means for regular guys like you and me who still want to get married someday, knowing the risks. And we have to talk about celebrities because, let's be real, nobody cares about the average man getting a divorce. People only care about celebrities, and there's no spotlight on the average man's divorce, even though that would be a better learning tool for most men because you could relate. With that said, we all know by now the #1 cause of divorce is marriage. If you don't get married, you can't get divorced. It's pretty straightforward. But my question is, why do men still get married with all this proof and evidence that it's akin to taking poison? You guys know that if you consume poison, you are more likely to die than develop immunity and live, and marriage is the same. We all know that statistically, most men who get married end up getting a divorce, and if they stay together, divorce is always on the table until death comes for one or both spouses. Also, even if they choose to stay together, they could be in a miserable marriage, toxic marriage with DV on both sides, open marriage, sexless marriage, and so on. Even if they stay together, it doesn't mean it will be a success. So why are men still choosing marriage when they know the risk of failure is far greater than success? Well, I thought about it, and I think men find themselves signing their lives away because they are ignorant of the fact that they don't have to get married anymore to get some of the benefits of marriage, and they don't know how nasty and detrimental divorces are. These men don't know any better due to social programming and pressure from family and the woman to get married. They think it will help them gain status and benefits in their careers, and they're just weak to women overall. We have to look at the intentions of men who decide to get married before we just say they're dumb or stupid because the marriage doesn't tell the full story. You have to look at why these men are getting married to make sense of the nonsense. But what I do know is that the reason why men still decide to marry all goes back to the fact that men are weak to the divine feminine. That's it, gents. Men are weak to women, and this isn't just my opinion. It's religious and biblical. The very first chapter of the Bible shows you the downfall of man caused by the ops. What more needs to be said? Kings and powerful men in the Bible lost kingdoms, empires, riches, and their lives over a woman. We are weak to them, and I think we are so weak because we need them more than they need us, especially today with the ops gaining financial independence and sexual liberation. Before you start cussing at the screen because I said men need women more than they need men, let's look at the facts and remove emotions. In America, the ops can now work and depend on the government for support, so they solve their primary problem of needing men to survive. We also have systems in place to protect them, and now that they can sleep with who they want without pregnancy due to birth control, they solve the issue of having bedroom fun without facing the consequences of pregnancy. They also have early termination at their fingertips, which also solves the problem of if they get pregnant, they can just get rid of it and face no immediate consequences. So what exactly do they need men for? Think about it and put it in the comment section. The 90-10 rule exists because they don't need a man, so they can afford to be extra picky in their selection because they can afford to be single and support themselves. Sure, they want a man, and they technically need men to have kids and get supported long-term, but the system gives them the leeway to get the money and kids without a man committing, and they have the family as a backup plan to support them many times, so there's not really a need. Now if you say that men don't need the ops, you would be right if men don't want to have bedroom fun. The truth is men only have one source to get their fix naturally, and that's with women. There's no other option if you're not a part of the LDHTV coalition. You must link with a woman to get your release if you're not willing to go into unadulterated immorality. That alone gives the ops power over you because no matter what, you must go to them to get what you want. Because let's be real, your hand can only do so much. In the back of your mind, you'll always want to feel more or feel something different, so no matter what, you'll have to go to the source to get your release. That alone gives them power over you and why you need them more than they need you in modern times. Even if you decide you're going to go on an indefinite monk mode to solve this problem, can you do without prawn every now and then? Probably not. Men supplement bedroom fun with prawn when they don't have access to the happy center. And let's say if you're not strong-willed as a man on indefinite monk mode, you might just say F it and go join the LDHTV coalition if you're not careful because you need more than your hand. I have prisons, priests, San Francisco, and legit monks to prove my case that men will poke each other in the absence of women. So most men need the ops more than they need them because they have a support system and some level of protection in place. For some reason, many of them can go without our rot with no problem, so they don't have the same degree of need for bedroom fun like we do. This is why I believe men are still choosing to mess with the ops, go into relationships, or get married and divorce-graved even though they get treated like crap and get screwed over bigly. Tell me, what is typically a man's response when he gets screwed over by his woman in a relationship or marriage? Is the first thing he thinks about monk mode? Does he automatically think about grinding hard at his job or focus on building a business or side hustle? Does he think about living his life for himself and enjoying himself? Hell no, he thinks about getting back the woman or getting some cookie from another woman as his first response because he's addicted to sex and the feeling of love. That alone should tell you everything you need to know. Until the day comes when men no longer have the drive and desire to procreate or have bedroom fun, we will forever be slaves to our rod and the ops. There, I said it. If our nature doesn't die, we will forever have a need for the ops, and that's just the reality. In the animal kingdom and our world, the male species are willing to fight and die to get a chance to procreate. We're effed. I want you to think about that for a minute. All species have a biological imperative to survive as long as possible as the primary goal, and the male species will override their biological programming to get a piece of stank. That alone should tell you we have no way out of dealing with women. Maybe male virgins have it easier, but I know that the moment you eat from the fruit from the forbidden tree, you're forever shackled to the divine feminine until you die. Even old ninjas don't ever get freedom from the ops. They are out here still having bedroom fun if they can get it up, so again, that proves my argument. Until the day comes when we can't get it up or feel the need to have bedroom fun, we'll always need the ops. So when it comes to dating, relationships, and marriage, the reason why we continue to get screwed is that most men always have to come back to the well to drink when they get thirsty. Many of you will not want to agree, but ninjas keep the marital system going because they are weak to the ops. So again, the intention of a man is more important than just saying he's dumb. I hope I laid out my case and made you understand why men constantly get screwed by divorce, child support, or false sexual accusations. The problem stems from men's weakness to the ops because of the lack of options to get their itch scratched and their biological urge to procreate. I personally know options exist, like the pocket pleasure toys. I have one that I've been using, and it has been a great alternative to the real thing, along with a heating stick. Sex dolls also exist as an option. I don't own one, so I can't speak of the experience. Hopefully, sex robots and AI will be another great option. But for right now, you can't fully replace the natural feeling of the cookie and the overall experience of bedroom fun. So we're forever chained down to the plantation. And as they say, all of us are one sloppy toppy away from the plantation. And it's somewhat true for most men, unfortunately. With that said, I didn't intend to talk that long about why men are still choosing to get married. Still, I'll have to make this video a two-parter so it's not 20 minutes long. So today's article is a short one, and it's from TMZ titled, Jeezy Files for Divorce from Jeannie Mai. Part 2 will have the recent scoop on what's happening, so stay tuned for that. Tap the like button to spread this message of why men must stop getting married, and let's dive into the article. Jeezy is pulling the plug on his marriage to Jeannie Mai. The Atlanta rapper filed Thursday to divorce the talk show host in Fulton County Superior Court. According to the docs obtained by TMZ, Jeezy filed in Georgia on Thursday, saying their marriage is irretrievably broken with no hope for reconciliation. Jeezy seeking joint legal and physical custody of their one-year-old daughter, Monaco, and he says they have an existing prenup in place. Alright, so I have some inside information on this that some of you don't know, but everything I'll say is alleged, so take that with a grain of salt. So we know he was the one who filed for divorce. Based on what I heard and the reasoning behind it, Jeannie Mai, a known womanist, was toxic and abusive. I don't think it ever became physical, but she has done interviews saying she was abusive and she would let the dragon out. In translation, she was argumentative, overbearing, and passive-aggressive. I watched CGA's stream on this, so I've seen the evidence that this is true. Also, this woman is now a two-time divorcee, and in her previous marriage to a white gump, she ran all over him. So we can assume she didn't respect the guy because he was weak, and again, she's a womanist, so the fact that they got divorced shouldn't be a surprise. If this story doesn't tell you not to marry a womanist, which most American women and many of the ops worldwide are, I don't know what to tell you. Stop marrying and impregnating womanists. They don't like you, and some of them hate men. There's no way on God's green earth you can expect to have a successful marriage with someone like that. So in my opinion, besides the fact that you never marry a divorcee because they have already gone through a divorce, it's easier for them to divorce a second time, but marrying a womanist is just dumb. Surprisingly, she wasn't the one who filed for divorce. Jeezy did, so I'm just assuming that it was so bad that he felt that the only option left was to vote with his feet rather than stay married to her. And this was a 2-year marriage, guys. They couldn't even last more than 2 measly years, so the lesson is to not get married to a womanist and don't get married, period. Now, the article mentioned he has a prenup, and in case you don't know, he makes more money than her, so she married up. She's 44 now, and they got married in, I believe, March of 2021, so not all women who hit the wall don't get rescued. The article also mentioned she got one kid out of the marriage, so this is a classic case of why women never throw in the towel on love and romance and give up, because sometimes there's a chance that a man will take up that deal, or they can level up and get what they want temporarily. So going back to the prenup argument, let's get this straight. Prenups do not protect you from child support, so if women don't get you on alimony or half of what you own, they will get you to pay up on child support. I like to call child support 304 support because there's no way a child needs tens of thousands of dollars a month to survive and thrive. But because the system and the ops benefit from the breadwinner, which is usually the man, paying child support or 304 support, they're going to raise it up as much as they can and restrict custody, because if the woman has more custody, she gets more money. I don't know how much he's going to have to pay in child support, but I know he's the breadwinner and the child is 1 year old, so depending on the state that the divorce is fought in, he's looking at 17 plus years of 304 support. So at face value, even with the prenup, he will get his pockets ran without question. As a breadwinner, in most cases, once you get married and have a kid, you automatically lose money if you go through a divorce. Are we clear about that? There's no protection from this, so it is what it is, deal with it. Now he got an ironclad prenup, so you guys think he's safe, but allegedly, we got some news that she signed the prenup a day before the wedding, which gives her a great argument to say she signed under duress to make it null and void. If that turns out to be true, there's a strong argument that he's effed. If you want the evidence of this, Belead Attorney did a stream about it, and a YouTuber called Henry Resilient found evidence and revealed she signed the prenup a day before the wedding. So if it turns out to be true, it's going to be sticky on Jeezy. This is why I believe prenups are just a cope or hoax strategy, because women can contest the prenup, and you have to spend more money to fight to prove its validity. The judge can throw it out if they want, or your wife can find a way to make it null and void with certain tactics like signing one day before the wedding, signing it on drugs, or acting like they were forced. Also, you have to make the prenup fair where she gets something substantial on the way out of the marriage, so I don't believe in it. Just don't get married, and you don't have to worry about losing anything in a divorce. But ninjas want women to validate them and get their own in-house romp in the hay, so it's not going to stop anytime soon. I hope I've made my case of why you shouldn't get married, because most of you are going to become a statistic whether you like it or not. Let's continue. The news could have very well been news to Jeannie. She recently celebrated her soon-to-be ex's book and his accomplishments on a heartfelt Instagram post just a week ago. Their union was a relatively short-lived affair. The pair got hitched in 2021 at their Atlanta home in the heart of the pandemic. I heard the divorce blindsided her, so I can imagine that if she gets scorned and decides to unleash the dragon, she's going to make this guy's life a living hell. But if you look at the pictures they put out there, they seem happy, and many of you would envy Jeezy. But now they're getting a divorce, and behind closed doors, we know things weren't like what you see of them in public. It wasn't all happy and loving in private, which is why you should never want to go into a relationship or marriage just because you see a moment in time of a couple in a relationship or marriage out in public looking happy together. People are not going to tell you the problems they have in relationships until they break up or get divorced, so do yourselves a favor and don't make a legal decision based on other people's fake lives. I'll cover part 2 soon, so look out for that. On the screen are our season 24 videos that I know you'll enjoy, so click it right now for some of the best edutainment in this space.